Why does everything have to end in an argument? If you are tired of fussing and fighting with other people, then stay tuned because I've got some tips for you. So, today I want to get started on the topic of disagreements, quote unquote, conflicts in your relationships. And by the time you're done with this video, you'll have an ideal of what some of those main contributing factors are that lead to arguments, some tips on how to minimize and reduce the chances of argument, and conversely, how disagreements in your relationship can actually make your relationships stronger and improve your life. All right, so let's get started. So, I want to get you started on a different intake of what conflict is. Usually you hear conflict being one of those things of you and someone else having a dispute. But I want to bring your mindset over to looking at conflict as an internal hostility that turns into an anguish when you and someone else have differences. So, for instance, um, let's say that you and someone else had a difference on the color of blood. You say that the color of blood is red, and they say that the color of blood is crimson. Before you know it, you guys are going back and forth with a battle of words that's going to cause a potential disagreement to lead over to an argument. So when you get this understanding that, okay, conflict is something that is within me, it gives you more abilities to minimize the chances of you having a full blown argument with someone. Now, I'm going to give you some of those contributing factors that lead to potential arguments as well. Okay. Number one, there is a communication block. What do I mean by communication block? Well, anytime that there is a dialogue happening with two people, you've got a sender and you've got a receiver. Okay. Let me make this a bit more personable. You and your parent are going to be having a conversation about a particular circumstance or subject. You're going to be the sender and your parent is going to be the receiver. You, as the sender, you're going to have different phrases, labels, choice words, and even your body gestures that you emit to the receiver, AKA your parent. Your parent is going to pick up that information that you're relaying and they're going to perceive that as your message that you're sending to them. Now, depending on your parents' interpretations of what your message means to them, that interpretation is going to be concluded to either something negative or something positive. The caveat is that whatever circumstance you and your parent are discussing, both of you have perhaps a past experience with that circumstance that's going to have you to deliver your message a certain way. And also, your parent could possibly have a past experience of that circumstance, which is going to prompt them to take your message and filter it through the history that they already have in correlation to the circumstance at hand. So with that, there's going to be a block and friction. The best thing that you could do to minimize there being a chance of an argument is once your parent gives you their conclusion of what your message was, if the message that they received and interpreted wasn't what you were wanting to relate to them, then would be the perfect time to say, hey, what exactly did you think I meant by the information that I was sharing with you? Allow them to explain to you what they picked up and what they got. By you doing that, it allows the chances for you to make corrections, even if that means to use a different set of words or different labels, because then you're seeing that they might need a little bit more help with transitioning your message over to what you really want it to mean. So, communication blocks is one of those first conflicting factors. The second factor that I want to share with you is most often, just from being a human being, we are going to have common differences. And usually, those common differences are two main topics. One is a difference in beliefs, and one can be a difference in values. Because we have those differences, disagreement begins to happen, and then you potentially lead to clashing and then argument because somebody is right and then somebody is wrong. If you are trying to defend your beliefs, your values, then you're going to heighten that internal tension, and you're going to do everything that you possibly can to defend your value and or your belief. Now, let me move into how I said that having those disagreements in your relationships can actually strengthen your relationship. So when there is a disagreement, commonly the thing that happens is that that outer shell that we all have with one another, that shell is gonna open up some where you're gonna see what their needs are, what some of their desires are, and even some of those fears. So by you having access to the inner part of them, you pass like this outer shell, that gives you the possibility to connect with them on a human level. That's something that's needed for all of us. That's one of the things that keeps us healthy, is having those trusted and supported human connections. Those disagreements are going to allow you that opportunity to get to know that person a bit more deeply, and it gives you the chance to connect with them just a little bit more, and you guys could possibly start to build a trust with one another because, hey, I'm human. I have that same fear. I've got that same desire and or need. Now, how does having disagreements make your life better? So when you are having disagreements with someone, they are giving you their method and their perspective. If you have in your mind that there is no right, there is no wrong, but only a perspective, then if an opportunity presents itself when you're trying to do something or work on something, or you're needing some information for something, you can reflect back on that disagreement that you had with that person, and you can use their method to solve your problem. If you were to do that with every relationship in your life, think about all the disagreements as being a learning opportunity. Okay? So keep that in mind. When it comes to conflict, conflict is an inside thing. It's coming from you. Good morning. I just wanted to chime in really quickly so that I could give you a quick snippet and scenario from my own life to help you to realize that you have way more control over the arguments in your relationships than you currently realize. So, you know how I was saying that conflict is an internal thing, it's an inside thing? Well, I'm going to share a story with you that happened with me this morning. So, I have this thing, or my brain is set up and it's fixated to believe that when I get up in the morning, that you're supposed to turn on the vacuum to remove the dog fur, from the dogs, playing the night before or while we're sleeping. My brain says that before you do anything, before your day gets started, you are supposed to turn the vacuum on. Well, my partner, his way is
Well, it doesn't have to come on immediately. As a matter of fact, this morning, he was in the main area doing some work on the computer. So he's like, don't turn on the vacuum right now. My mind started flipping. It's going crazy because it's like, no, the right way is to turn the vacuum on the first thing in the morning. That's what you do. Inside, I was getting a bit agitated. So I said, okay, let me do something for myself internally. And then let me also um, get a hold of how I could react that would cause us to go into an argument over something as simple as dog fur. So I had to tell myself this morning that my way, my method is not the only way. My method is not the only right way of doing something. It's only right to me. For me, it's something that I choose to do, that my brain is comfortable with. So, to lessen the chances of an argument happening, I asked myself this question: is the fur blocking me from doing what I need to do or what I want to do? No. So, what that told me was that mentally and emotionally, I was blocked somewhere. I had to ease that tension down, because if I want to debate how the dog fur should be cleaned up, we're going to have an argument. Then I told myself, this relationship, the connection in this relationship matters way more than my way, my method winning. I told my brain to settle down. Everything is fine. We're just doing things differently today. And instantly in that moment, I felt an internal peace, and externally, it kept my household at peace. So I want you to keep those steps in mind for yourself, because it works. Now, let's get back to the main recording.
Keep in mind to practice being aware of some of those common factors that could possibly trump an argument. Those common differences, which are values and beliefs, and also that communication error. I would advise you to work on that within all of your relationships. Give yourself time to practice being aware of those things. So that way, when a disagreement is occurring, you say, okay, I'm aware of what this is. I know what this is. And guess what? I can keep it from elevating to an argument. So don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so that you can catch me on the next video. Bye.